right? Why is it you can't scale your Facebook and TikTok ads, right? Why is it you cannot seem to scale profitably? You maybe are spending, something like $100 per day, or maybe you're spending like $200 per day, but you can't seem to scale past that point. You could be profitable, right? You could be getting a 2 or a 3 ROAS, but the problem that you're having is every single time you try and increase your ad spend, right, the profitability of your ads goes down. So your ad spend goes up, right? But the profitability of your ad spend ends up sort of coming down. If this is the profitability here, the more you spend on your ads, the more you end up losing. There's actually a very good reason for why this is happening. And in this video, basically, I'm going to explain to you exactly why this is happening. And also there's going to be 2 major mistakes that cause this problem. And you're going to learn the actionable steps to actually overcome these problems. So the first thing, mistake number 1, right? Lack of ad volume. How often are you testing ads, right? New ads. How many ads are you creating per week, right? In the comments, let me know, right? Most people that I end up working with are testing anywhere between sort of like 3 to maybe 5 per week, okay? And this is like a good number. Like most people are 3 to 5 per week. Some people even do that per month, right? And the problem with this is you're just not testing enough volume. But there's a reason that people end up being in this category, right? Because they're very expensive to create. Ads aren't very easy to create. They take a long time. They're very expensive, blah, 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 right? So you end up only testing a few number of ads. Now, there's 2 types of people that I have sort of come across when they're running their ads, right? They kind of come into 2 different categories. The first one are people who are sort of reactionary, and then the second ones are people who are sort of a little bit ahead, but aren't able to actually sustain what it is they're doing, right? Testing and creating new ads, right? So we've got the reactionary ones here, right? That says reaction. And then we've got the people who are sort of ahead, okay? But these people are limited, okay? So the reactionary ones are people who start to see, they sort of wait until their ads start to lose performance. So they wait until performance drops, okay? And these people, the reason they do this is because they sort of don't see the point in constantly creating new ads, right? Because once you've got an ad that's making sales, and if it's making profitable sales, what's the point in creating a new ad, right? And what ends up happening to these people is they actually get a significantly lower ROAS over time. Like if you look at like a 30-day period, they get a significantly lower ROAS. And the reason this happens is because they are very reactionary. They're not actually creating new content. So as soon as their ad starts to drop, they start to go ahead and create new ads, okay? Which then leaves a window of about 3 days, typically before that new ad gets introduced. The second type of people, right, are the people who are slightly ahead of their game, right? They're always testing, okay? Now this could be you, okay? You're probably falling into one of these 2 categories. Now the problem with these guys, okay, is they're only testing a small number, okay? So if you're not testing, a huge number of ads per week, this doesn't really make a huge difference, because what you've probably seen here, when you're testing ads every single week, if you're testing like 5 ads per week, you're probably thinking, well, there's no point, okay? Because none of these ads are massively better performing than the current ads that I'm running. But these people, over like a 30-day period, tend to have a better ROAS than people who are very reactionary. And the reason that happens is there isn't that sort of time frame, there isn't that pause between ads dying and having to put and cycle new ads into their business. So although the ads that you're currently running aren't necessarily performing much better than the current ads, there isn't that sort of burnout drop-off period, right? So you've got to be testing different creatives, copy, and offers, right? One of the easiest ways to create and test new ads is by creating image ads, right? And when I'm starting out, if I'm working with somebody, if I'm running out e-commerce ads, right, I spend a huge amount of time building brands and helping e-commerce brands scale their ads and build long-term sustainable businesses. And I'm doing a free training, guys. If you want to get access to this free training, there is up here, somewhere in a card and in the description, there is a free class that I'm doing which will teach you a load of this stuff about how to build long-term sustainable brands. And one of the biggest things that I work on when I'm right at the start is let's just create image ads, okay? Because you can cycle image ads incredibly quickly. And the really important thing with image ads is you can start to test the targeting and also the copy from those image ads, right? And also offers, right? So for example, here's what we would do on a typical sort of ad that we're creating, okay? We would have, let's just do this, right? We would have, that's not an ad, right here. We would start to test one ad, okay? If that ad performs, we will test, well, actually, first of all, we'll create like 3 or 4 ads kind of like this, right? So we've got 3 ads that we're currently running. Each one of these ads is basically the same, but the only difference between these 2 ads is their hook, okay? So each one is the same, but the opening hook is different, okay? Now that is the easiest way of testing multiple ads, right? You can do this with video ads as well. Sorry, this is mostly with video ads, but you can do this with image ads as well, right? And what I mean by that is you have got the content of your ad, okay? If we assume that this is the ad that we are running, okay, the opening part of the ad is obviously the hook, okay? So this bit here, sort of everything forward of, like, I usually do the first 10 seconds. Everything forward to the first 10 seconds is what we swap out, okay? So this stuff is going to be unique for each different video, but it's not just a matter of how can I engage the audience more. It's a matter of what can I do to test new offers, okay? So here's what I do, right? Here, I'm cycling in new offers. Okay, and the easiest way of doing this, and what I mean by this, is testing out new headlines, testing out new hooks that are going to engage people. And these are marketing offers and also, to be fair, angles. Okay, so what I usually do when I'm testing new ads is this. We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, each one of these we are basically targeting a new angle, right? So for example, if we're looking at a skincare product, right, we've got 3 angles would be, let's say, hypoallergenic, right? One other angle would be dry skin, okay, and then another one maybe, right, acne, okay, and we're assuming here that the product helps all of these problems, right? So what I would usually do is I would create a video ad which shows off both 1, 2, and 3, right? Throughout the video, it shows off how it can help you if you've got hypoallergenic skin, or if you've got dry skin, it's got a moisturizing property, and also how it can help acne or whatever, right? So that is the content of the video. However, maybe, right, what I do is I take number 1 and I create a specific hook for that, which would probably call out that person's problem, right? So we've got hook 1, and I'm just going to do one of them, right? So we basically just call out right at the start, we have some opening statement. And that opening statement is typically something along the lines of, I don't know, like, let's just say, feeling drained, right? Something like that, okay? Feeling drained, or, okay, so we've got 3 examples here, right? And you would spend more time on these, but essentially these are 3 problems that people would face with acne, okay? So feeling drained, emotionally drained by the fact they've got acne, or they're fed up with it, they're tired of it, or they feel like they've tried every single product, right? These are like they're not necessarily what you would write in the video, but these are kind of like how you start focusing on the hook. And then what you do is you spend like the first 10 seconds of the video doubling down on whatever it is that you've tried, okay? Now the reason I like to write them out like this is because, right, each one of these statements are statements that people have and problems that they have with acne and current products, and it's actually like a pain point that you're trying to solve, right? It's a reason why somebody would then buy your product, right? So you're instantly calling out that pain point and you're targeting on that pain point straight away. You'll be careful with like ad guidelines and stuff, but this means, right, from each one of these you can create multiple different hooks, okay? And that's not the point right now, but the point is, if we list out a load of hook ideas, and these are actually really more like angles, right? I think I sort of showed this earlier, but if we list out more angles that we can target, then we can see which one's going to perform the best as an ad, okay? So let's say, for example, out of the ads that we have tested, this one is now the winning ad, okay? This one is getting us the best possible results. So now what we do is we take this hook and then we start to iterate upon it, okay? So we basically test multiple angles at the start of a video. So basically what you can actually do is you can spend more time creating hooks, which is significantly easier, right, to create a 5-10 second hook than it is to create a 30-second, 60-second video every single time. Once we find the hook and the opening angle that works, that gets us the best click-through rates and watch view rates, then we can start to focus on creating more ads around that angle, okay? And that's basically the principle of like how you can very, very quickly test ads, okay? So, analyzing performance data and identifying top performing ads, right? I forgot to go through this. So basically, right, what I do here when I'm looking at an ad, if I'm testing ads very, very quickly, there are a few things that I like to focus on. First of all, right, is the retention of that ad. How long are people watching those videos for? And the reason I do this is because, I mean, if you're doing this for TikTok or if you're doing this for Facebook, it's kind of the same. So what typically happens, right, is you start to test an ad. And when you test an ad, you can see the retention curve on that ad. And maybe it looks something like this, okay? And this is like your hook, the first 5 seconds of that video. Then what happens is you test a new hook, okay, and the next hook that you've tested has a slightly better retention curve, okay, so now this one is obviously better than the first one. So basically you keep on iterating, okay, the next one that you create is getting slightly better results. Okay, so every single time, and this is obviously quite an extreme example, but every single time you're creating a new hook, you are comparing data, right? So the things I usually like to compare when I'm testing multiple ads are these things, right? First of all, obviously click-through rate. Click-through rate is the greatest one. If I can be getting like greater than a 2% click-through rate on every single ad, I'm winning, okay? I also want to check the average view time. So the average view time of the ad, right? And as long as every single ad that I'm creating is doing better than or the same as the previous ad, I'm obviously moving in a better direction, right? The theory being here, right, if somebody watches more of the ad is more engaging, it's hitting more of their pain points and it's targeting them better. And also as a sort of net result of that, they're going to be more convinced to buy the product, okay? So those are the real things that I start to look at, basically when I'm testing ads. And this is really going to lead heavily into basically being able to scale, because what happens is you need to have enough ads to be able to run enough traffic. Okay, so basically, right, what typically happens here is you have what other people call, and I call it, and it's sort of like a known thing, I guess, in the marketing space. Let's just do this. Right, we have sort of like this is 25 different ads. 5 times by, no, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's 20 ads here. So it's a 1 in 20 ad. Okay, so a 1 in 20 ad essentially means if we were to spend, let's say, you know, this one here is the winning ad, right? We've tested 20 different ads, and this one is our best performing ad. This one is giving us the best possible results. So this ad is basically able to allow us to scale to maybe $100 per day. Okay, we can be profitable at this level. Okay, but as soon as we try and spend, you know, $1,000 on this advert, we are now no longer profitable, okay? And the reason for this is because it's just not a good enough ad, okay? So it's just a 1 in 20 ad. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to test more ads, right? And the reason that, like, I've explained to you how you do that by just swapping out hooks, but you can also do it with image ads as well, right? You can do the same thing. You can test different angles and different hooks with image ads. And then what we're trying to do now is we're trying to create a 1 in 100 ad. I don't know if this is 100 squares, but you kind of get the idea, right? So now this is a 1 in 100 ad. 1 in 100 basically means, it doesn't mean like none of the other ads are going to be profitable, but what it does mean is this ad is going to allow you to spend probably something like, you know, $1,000 per day, okay? And this ad is better than this ad. It's just a fact, right? And you can only find this ad if you do a lot of testing. But this is not just like randomly testing. This is not just shooting at a wall, right? Imagine this is your wall, okay? There is a target on this wall, and this target here on this wall is what you're aiming for, okay? But as you sort of aim towards that target, there are other levels, right? There are other circles that you can go for. And within each one of these rings is a sort of like, this is like a 1 in 10 ad, this is a 1 in 20 ad, a 1 in 30 ad, right? And the point is, what we're trying to do is, and this one, actually, to be fair, it's probably better like this is a 1 in 1,000 ad, a 1 in 100 ad, a 1 in 10 ad, right? We're trying to get closer and closer to the target. So obviously, every single time we create a new piece of content, we are making sure that we iterate on the previous version. Okay, we're not just randomly testing stuff. We will create a list of angles like this, hooks and different angles, and we'll say, right, we're going to test 5 ads on the feeling drained angle. We're going to test 5 ads on people tired of acne or tried everything, right? Each one of these, you can go further, and you can say we're going to build a landing page for each one of these angles, but you can sort of spend hours on that. I wouldn't bother with that just yet. So now what we're doing is we're guaranteeing with every ad that we test, we are getting better results. But also, like, on top of this, as we test our ads, right, as we start to scale and test multiple ads, we're not just wasting time, right? We're not just wasting money, because the theory goes like this, right? As we start to test multiple ads, we are still getting results from those ads, okay? So you're not just wasting money. So for example, right, you test your first 10 ads and you make some revenue, you make some profit. Let me just choose white here, right? You make some revenue and you make some profit, okay? And then the ads start to die out, so you start to test more ads and you make some more revenue and profit. And these ads are slightly better than the previous ones, which means you can scale more, okay? And this sort of cycle continues. And so over time, you are continually growing your ad account, right? Your store and your brand, right? And like at this point here, for example, right, this might be a 1 in 10, okay? This one here might be a 1 in 50, okay? This one here might be a 1 in 100 ad, right? And then ends up happening, right? You end up being able to be in a position, right, where actually over time you sort of get exponential growth, okay? Because as you get like a 1 in 10 ad or a 1 in 100 ad, you can obviously spend more money on that one ad, right? And if you can spend more money on this ad here, right? If I can spend more money on this ad, I can then scale quicker. And this ad will go further because it's a better ad than the first ad that I started off with. Sometimes you'll be very lucky and the first ad that you test will be a 1 in 100 ad, okay? But you can't guarantee that, right? So you've got to keep on testing new ads. And the more ads that you test, the better the position that you're going to be in. So that's like the first mistake. The second thing that you really want to focus on is your customer lifetime value, right? So you can get huge results just from scaling your ads, right? You can get huge results just from testing loads of different ads. But realistically, okay, if you're a small business owner, testing, 100 ads per month is going to be a huge task for you, okay? You're probably thinking right now, how the hell am I going to create 100 ads? I don't have the time because I'm running the ads, I'm running the business, I'm trying to set up customer support, I'm trying to ship out orders, all of this stuff, right? How am I going to test 100 ads per month? Well, you can either hire somebody to do it, but that can become quite expensive, or you focus on other things which is going to help your business grow. Because at the moment, right, there are multiple types of people, again, right, where you've got different cost per acquisitions that you can go for. For example, right, the majority of people when they start their business are like, okay, I can get a CPA, if you don't know what CPA is, cost per acquisition, i.e. the cost per purchase. I can get a CPA of $20, right? Which is, right, this is very, very difficult to make profitable, okay? But then what happens is, maybe if you work on your lifetime value, or you have a better product with more profit, you can get a cost per acquisition of $30, which now means, right, beforehand, if you've got a 1 in 10 ad, right, you need to get this results, right, you need let's just put this in green to make this easier to stand out, right? To get $20 per day CPA, so a $20 CPA, maybe you need a 1 in 100 ad, okay? But if you want to get a $30 CPA, now you only need a 1 in 70 ad. Okay, so you need to test less ads. Okay, so the same thing goes for if we are now getting a $100 CPA. Okay, if we can spend $100 to acquire a customer, we can now very easily just basically a 1 in 10 ad is going to get us that result. Okay, the ads don't need to be very good to get a cost per acquisition of $100. So there's two routes that you can take, right? You can either start to test loads of ads, okay, and I'm just sort of enjoying my graphs here, so I'm going to draw another one. But we can either test loads of ads, and the more ads that we test, then the better the chances that we're going to find a profitable ad. So I'm going to say here, right, as we test more ads, our cost per acquisition comes down, right? This is not necessarily going to be a linear growth, but the theory is we have more ads that are going to be performing better, right? Alternatively, right, we can test less ads and we can get a higher CPA, okay? And this is not really the direct relation that you would want, but the point I'm trying to make here is we can test a smaller number of ads, okay, and let's just annotate it, right? With a smaller number of ads, we're getting a higher cost per acquisition, okay? The more ads we test, our cost per acquisition comes down. But it doesn't matter, right? Because if this point here, right, a CPA of, let's say, let's do it here, right? Because we've got more space, right? A CPA of $50, okay? That doesn't matter because for this, we are profitable, okay? So we only need to test, whatever this is, 50 different ads. Okay, so the point is, you can test less ads and get a higher CPA, or you can test more ads and get a lower CPA. It's obviously not a direct relation, but the point is, you need to spend more time working on your lifetime value. Okay, so for example, right, if we bring on a customer, and that customer on our store, we have an average order value, and most people have an AOV, typically sort of less than $50. Okay. If that customer is only going to spend $50 on our store, we have got like a cost per acquisition or CPA of, $20. Okay, so now we've got $30 to play with. Maybe we've got sort of product cost of $15. Okay, and then we've obviously got processing fee of, whatever that is, like I think it's like $2 to $3. So very, very quickly you are eating into your profits, right? And then at the end of this, right, you're saying I want to make a 30% profit margin. Okay, so if you just add these numbers up, right, so we've got at the moment, right, our profit that we are getting from our sale is 50 minus 20 minus 15 minus 3. Okay, well, let's do minus 2. Okay, which is going to give us 50. That's 30. What is that? That's like 15. Yeah. Okay, so it's 15 minus 2. Right, we got so $13 in profit, which is pretty good, right? $13 profit over 50. We are sitting at a 26% profit margin. Okay, so we're getting close to the profit margins that we want, but this is assuming that we're getting a CPA of $20, which is very, very difficult. As soon as we increase this CPA, right, and we say actually now our CPA is going to be $30, suddenly we are getting towards the realms of unprofitability. Okay, because at this point, we know when a customer comes into our store, the only money we're going to get from them is $50. So how do we increase our lifetime value, right? Our lifetime value, which is the amount of money that somebody gives us over time, right? The amount of money that they are giving us over the amount of time they are a customer. Most people, when they start off with a business, when you first start and build an e-commerce business, whether you're a dropshipper or you build a brand, whatever situation you're in, they have this journey, right? A customer, they spend money on ads, okay? That customer then comes to their store, they then purchase the product. This is me building a shopping cart, okay? They then purchase that product. Once they purchase the product arrives on their door. They're all very, very happy. And then that is it. They go out the door. You never see them again. Okay, but what you actually want to do is close this cycle. Maybe you want to send them like an email. Okay, and in this email, you give them a discount. So now they're actually going to come back to your store and they're going to purchase more products, right? That's one way of increasing your lifetime value. And the only way of doing that is making sure that when somebody purchases, you give them a good experience, right? If they don't have a good experience, why would they ever purchase from your store again, right? And a good experience is not necessarily just a good product, okay? This is when somebody comes to your store and they buy from your store, they need to know that they're going to get a refund if they can, okay? It's like, not if they can, but like if there's a problem with the product. Or they can get in contact with customer support, okay? So if there's a problem with their product, they can get in contact with customer support, okay? They can track their order, okay? Now, the reason most people sort of ignore this stuff is because it doesn't necessarily directly correlate with, so it's not like, you know, the amount of time I spend on customer support is not directly proportional, that's supposed to be a proportional sign, is not directly proportional to the amount of money that I make in my business. But as you scale your business, if this stuff is not set up, right, so if you don't have this stuff set up, your business, right, trajectory is going to look like this. You're going to start making revenue from your business, it's going to be going well, suddenly it's slowed down, and then it's going to come crashing down again. And the reason this happens is because your customers are then complaining, right? You start to spend more time on your customers, more time trying to help them track their orders or give them refunds, which means you're spending less time on marketing and the things that's actually going to grow your business, right? Now, a customer may not necessarily want a refund, but they need to get quick access to info, okay? They need to get quick access to information. And this is stuff like, how do I track my order? Or can I wash this item? Or once the product's turned up, they need to be able to get information about that product, right? And most people allow them just to email in, okay? And if they email in your customer support, maybe you get like 5 per day, okay? As you scale, you get 10 emails per day. Then as you continue scaling, you get 100 emails per day. And you are spending a huge amount of time spending either hiring somebody or spending money on somebody to deal with these emails, right? And the problem that you're having in your business now, right, is as you're scaling your ads, as your cost per acquisition is rising, or as you're testing, as your cost per acquisition is rising because you want to keep on scaling, you're unable to test more and more ads because you're now spending more and more time in your business dealing with these things going on. So what you really need to do is spend time building a good experience right at the start, building a good, solid foundation for your business that allows you to then scale and spend time running and testing new ads. So just to summarize, right? First thing that you need to do when you're running into the point where you can't actually scale profitably, there are 2 major mistakes. The first one is you need to be testing enough ads, right? You want to find a winning ad combination. The second thing that you need to do is make sure that you are increasing your lifetime value. You are increasing the brand experience. When somebody buys from your brand, they're going to come back and buy again, right? Because if we can increase our lifetime value from $50 average order value to $100, we can now spend double to acquire that customer and still make a profit. Awesome. So hopefully that sort of helped you out sort of with any of the problems that you've got with your advertising. If you need any help with scaling your business and you want to learn how to scale your business, I have a free course up here. Go ahead and click on the link in the card or top link down below in the description. I'm also doing a free live training where I'm going to go through everything that you need to know about how to scale your brand, how to bring on more customers, increase lifetime value, run your ads profitably, find more traffic, and also sustain a long-term scalable business. So go ahead, join that free class down below. If you've got any other questions, let me know in the comments.